It was a jaw-dropping moment on the Graham Norton Show when comedian Kevin Hart unleashed an unexpected and blistering critique of Meghan Markle's now-defunct Spotify podcast, Archetypes. The Duchess of Sussex wasn't even on the show, yet her presence, or rather her influence, loomed large as Hart took a wrecking ball to what he described as empty brand storytelling and royal-level entitlement. What followed was a raw and unfiltered takedown that ignited both applause and controversy, setting the tone for yet another chapter in the ongoing saga of Meghan versus the world. The most compelling part? Kevin Hart wasn't even trying to be malicious, he was simply being honest. In a segment discussing public figures who venture into podcasting, the conversation veered towards celebrity podcasts that fail to connect with real audiences. Hart didn't hold back. He described Archetypes as a masterclass in self-importance, claiming it was more about trying to look woke than having anything to say. His words sparked immediate reactions from the audience and co-panelists alike, with some laughing uncomfortably and others nodding in agreement. This kind of unscripted commentary is rare on a show known for its charm and wit. But Hart's remarks struck a nerve because they echoed what many media critics and podcast listeners have been saying all along. Meghan Markle's media ventures often feel like they're crafted more for personal image control than for genuine connection. The Spotify deal, once valued at $20 million, ended abruptly in 2023 amid rumors of low listenership and lack of deliverables. Even Spotify executives reportedly called her and Prince Harry grifters, a sentiment that Hart's words seem to indirectly validate. What adds more fuel to the fire is that Kevin Hart isn't a political commentator or a royal insider. He's a comedian with global reach and a deep understanding of what audiences actually care about. His comedic lens stripped away the PR polish and corporate sheen that often surround Meghan Markle's public image. In doing so, he raised a question that has lingered for years. Is Meghan really as relatable and misunderstood as she claims, or is she simply another elite using victimhood as a brand? The reality is that Meghan has long positioned herself as a voice for the voiceless, yet her actions consistently reflect someone who speaks at people rather than with them. Whether it's the carefully curated interviews with Oprah or the self-referential podcast episodes, the narrative always centers back to her personal grievances. Even her choice of guests on Archetypes, Serena Williams, Mariah Carey, Paris Hilton, suggests a narrow echo chamber of elite women who are hardly representative of the everyday woman Meghan claims to champion. And while Archetypes aim to dissect, explore, and subvert the labels that try to hold women back, it often felt more like a therapeutic exercise for Meghan herself. Critics pointed out the lack of journalistic rigor, the shallow conversations, and the clear intent to subtly rewrite the narrative of her royal exit. It wasn't journalism, it was brand rehabilitation disguised as advocacy. Kevin Hart's scathing remarks come at a time when public sentiment toward Meghan Markle is sharply divided. Her defenders insist that she is unfairly targeted by the media and royal traditionalists, while her detractors argue that she manipulates public sympathy while simultaneously profiting from it. The truth may lie somewhere in between, but Hart's critique stripped away the ambiguity and laid bare what many believe but are too afraid to say, that Meghan's media persona often feels more manufactured than meaningful. Perhaps the most biting irony of this whole episode is that Meghan wasn't even on the Graham Norton Show, and yet she became the most talked about subject. It reflects a growing fatigue with celebrity activism that feels disconnected from reality. Kevin Hart didn't need to name-drop her extensively. A few well-timed jokes and jabs were enough to spotlight the growing disconnect between Meghan's message and her methods. In the end, Kevin Hart's takedown wasn't just about a podcast, it was about the illusion of authenticity in an age dominated by personal branding. And if Meghan Markle hopes to regain public trust, she might have to learn something Hart knows better than most. If you're going to talk, at least be real about it. Because in today's media landscape, authenticity isn't a luxury, it's a currency. And right now, Meghan's brand is bankrupt in that department. Kevin Hart's commentary, though laced with humor, revealed a deeper truth. Audiences are exhausted by curated vulnerability and prepackaged wokeness. They crave honesty, relatability, and above all, humility, qualities that seem glaringly absent from Meghan's public persona. While she continues to tout empowerment and feminism, critics argue that her approach reeks of elitism wrapped in a victim narrative. Instead of listening and evolving, she doubles down on the same tropes: unfair treatment, misunderstood intentions, and the burden of being too bold for tradition. But Hart's blunt dismissal of her podcast wasn't just about the show's content, it was about the exhausting self-centeredness that saturates so much of her public messaging. It's not enough to talk about being silenced while signing multi-million-dollar media deals. It's not enough to preach authenticity while cloaking every word in PR strategy. If Meghan truly wants to move forward and bring the public with her, she needs less branding, more substance. Hart didn't destroy her by being cruel. He did it by saying what millions are thinking. Stop performing and start being real.